Welcome everyone to SPF23 Virtual. We are delighted to welcome you today to our virtual event. I'm Melanie Windle, Executive Director of the Sustainable Entertainment Society. I'm tuning in from the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, the Tsuut'ina and the Stoney Nakoda Nations, and Métis Nation Region 3 in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. Please use the chat function and tell us where you're tuning in from. Check out native-land.ca. As allies in the ongoing battle against climate change, we stand united, determined to preserve and protect the land, to be stewards of its natural gifts, and to facilitate healing. This commitment echoes the enduring spirit of the Indigenous peoples who have safeguarded this land for countless generations. Firstly, I'd like to welcome Cease Weiss, Indigenous matriarch of the Squamish, Stolo, and Hawaiian people, to share a traditional welcome.
Welcome to the Sustainable Production Forum. Hath squile each tenoyap, toits tanat quian quinshaman, cease quian sna, an hath in squalowin, an wanaxt in squalowin teetsies. Welcome everybody. It lifts my heart to welcome you to these ancestral lands and waters of the Huamatquiam, the Tsleil-Waututh, and the Squamish Old Olkameo. I am Squamish and Stalo, and I'm standing on these shorelines where the salt water meets the shoreline and comes back into the forest with ancient trees, ancient cedar trees, ancient fir trees, and ancient maples. Welcome, OCM.
Thank you, thank you. So today we have an incredible lineup of guests and programming, and I extend my deep gratitude to SPF23 lead partners, Green Spark Group, Real Green and Creative BC, CBC Radio Canada, and Telefilm Canada. So some housekeeping. If you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat box. If anybody has any visual difficulties, we're happy to assist with a visual description of our speakers. Please let us know in the chat box. If you will require closed captions, they will be available in the videos on demand after today's event. And please tag us at hashtag SPF23, hashtag Sustainable Production Forum if you decide to share anything on social media. Our first session will highlight two incredible sustainability champions from Bangladesh, Bibesh Roy and Monica Jahan Bose. But first, let's welcome Zina Harris, President, Green Spark Group, for opening remarks. Zina?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SPF23 Virtual. This is where the global community can come together and learn and get inspired for the work that needs to be done. My name is Zina Harris, and I am coming to you from the unceded territory of the Coast Salish people. In particular, I reside on the traditional lands of the Puyallup tribe. 8 years ago, I founded a little conference with the big vision to bring together the film and TV industry and advance sustainability. The SPF story continues. Today, I am so proud to see how SPF has evolved. This year, the SPF reached a big milestone. It is now housed at the Sustainable Entertainment Society, a new nonprofit organization founded to serve the industry in this sustainable transition. Its whole purpose is to advance our collective action. Green Spark Group, as a foundational partner, is proud of the evolution, but I dare say our work has just begun. We have a powerhouse lineup of speakers today. It's exciting to think about what we can all do together and what we can learn and how we can put that learning into action. What we do now in the face of climate change will determine the options those seeking careers in the film and TV industry have in the future. Let's make it good. Let's make it great. I'm excited about today. So here's to a fantastic SPF virtual day. Here's to all of you for showing up and working hard on sustainability in the film and TV industry. Back over to you, Melanie.
And I'd like to throw it to Bibesh. Bibesh, please join us and tell us a little bit more about what's going on in your world.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sustainable Production Forum, to invite me to say something regarding our initiative, I mean, our film school initiative in the context of Bangladesh regarding climate change, action or effect. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, spotlight on Bangladesh. Actually, we have a film school in Bangladesh, and we are started our activities 2006, and our basic three principle is education, production, distribution. And we did some activities last 17 years, a lot of educational program, student production, film event festival, and film production. In the context of Bangladesh media industry, not little, but not big. You know, a lot of people work there. We have lot of TV channel, radio channel, production house, cinema theater, film studio. And interesting thing is 5,000 plus student every year studying media in different universities, and almost 500,000 workforce doing work in the entertainment industry. In the context of climate disaster or climate change effect in Bangladesh, there is basically two types. One is suddenly happen, and another is slow. Like you know, cyclone, these flood, these are suddenly happen, and you know, slow, like sea level rise, salty water, and a lot of things happen in Bangladesh. You know, and Bangladesh is the mostly vulnerable situation in the earth in the context of climate change. And in these climate change context, so gender and women and girl are mostly affected. And I just display the scenario, basic scenario. And I want to say one thing, there is a lot of content and there is a lot of story, human story, the suffering of women and girls by climate change in our country. So if any content writer, any entertainment industry professional wants to work in this context, he or she can use content to work on that issues. So we are also trying to do something in the context of climate change and sustainable production. So my understanding in the context of Bangladesh or Bangladesh government, what can do? First thing is awareness, because awareness is very important thing. If I don't aware about the climate change or sustainable production, I cannot do anything and I cannot receive anything. So in this context, we are working on three phases, like education, production, and distribution. And interesting thing, we last year we made 6 short film, and 4th short film was nominated for prestigious German award for sustainable film production. So this is our one kind of achievement, because we try to start practice on sustainable film production with the student production. And another achievement, we become a member of Green Film School Alliance, and they are supporting us a lot for awareness, for tools, and also training initiative to how to train our students or young talents to maintain the sustainable production or green filming initiative. At the same time, we become a partner, knowledge partner of content for climate. And very important issue is last year we organized a Eco Film Lab. It was the first international film residency program in Bangladesh. And in this Eco Lab, we totally maintain sustainable production approach, or green filming approach from idea to screen. We work paperless. We use public transport. We did not use plastic bottle. We not use the artificial location. We shoot in real location without makeup, and we shoot 3 short film in daylight. There is no night sequence. So few light when required, then we use the LED light. And minimum crew, like 5 crew members, they shoot 3 short film. And we use Sony Alpha series camera for low lighting cinematography. An interesting thing, our theme was human, nature, and climate. So the 3 group, they made 3 short film, and they create their idea based on location, and 3 idea based on this theme, human, nature, and climate. And in this lab, we achieved a lot, because we try to understand our young filmmaker or young talents, what you need to do in the context of sustainable film production or green film initiative. Because if you do from beginning, then we can save our planet. And when you will enter the industry, then other people will follow you, because we face a lot of problem when we approach this type of initiative in our eco-film lab. Because our technician, our crew member, they are conventionally used to use a lot of big light setup, a lot of plastic bottle. They are not used to with this type of practice. I mean, sustainable film production practice. So we face a lot problem, but we not compromised. We manage them and we convince them, and finally they work with us. And lastly, we produced 3 short film, and interestingly, 1 short film almost done, and this post-production support by American Film Institute. And our next mission, same, we want to do our next eco lab in Sundarban the next year, because the Sundarban is the another climate change zone. They save Sundarban actually save the Bangladesh, and the heritage UNESCO heritage place. And we want to do another film lab in monsoon season, because in our country monsoon season there is another dynamics. So if we work in monsoon season with the eco lab approach, then our young talents or young filmmaker, they will learn a lot how to approach in monsoon season. So we have a plan, one eco women lab, and this is specially designed for multi-layer climate issues with women, and only women participants will join this lab, and they will work on climate and gender issues. We have another plan to movie making module, and we want to target 10 universities all over the country, and we want to teach the young talents, because today's young talents, tomorrow they will join the industry and they will lead the industry. And we have another plan to arrange a film festival with green film or climate issue-based film. Then it will be create another awareness in our young generation. Those are interested to join the industry very soon. And our basic obligations. First obligation, I feel, we have no film school. So without film school, you cannot get a proper generation. I mean, trained generation who can think about proper cinema practice. The professional film industry did not develop yet. So we have a big limitation on state funding regarding the film initiative or film culture. And I mentioned previously the awareness. And another thing is technical and logistical support for sustainable production. Like we have no proper setup with the solar panel to use for technicalities for shooting or all these production activities. So this is our basic obligations, and how we can overcome this situation. So if we get some global professional support for training, funding support, awareness events, if we can do more and more awareness program, then we can aware our people. And the same thing, we need some technical and logistical support to help our young talents. So thank you so much for this opportunity to tell my story on the context of our film school. Thank you.
That was wonderful.
Thank you.
Bibesh, so excited to meet you. I think I'm next. I'm Monica Jahan Bose, Monica Jahan Bose in Bangla. I'm actually in Washington, D.C., which is the ancestral lands of the Anacostan and Pascataway people. I'm going to actually ask Matt to show 2 short little clips from my work, video clips, before I start speaking. Saris that you see behind me were made in collaboration with a number of people in Washington, D.C., as well as a dozen women and their families in Katakali village, Bangladesh, which is my ancestral village. And we're having a lot of communities in the U.S., Bangladesh, around the world, having to rebuild their homes again and again after 100-year storms that are happening not just every 100 years, but more frequently.
A lot of the workshops have been really impactful and special to me, but really thinking about its ability, the project's ability to use creativity to really bridge communities together is probably like the most beautiful and like just transcendent part for me.
And then another clip, yes. Hi, so I'm going to share my screen now. And okay, yes, so I was really glad to hear Bibesh talk about the impact of climate change on women. So I'm an artist and filmmaker and former lawyer, and I'm involved in this project for over a decade now called Storytelling with Saris, and it's in collaboration with a dozen women and their families. They're farmer women from Katakali village, Bangladesh, which is on Borobaishti Island in Patuakhali district in the Bay of Bengal. And I like to start by acknowledging my grandmother, my Nani, Johara Begum, who was married at age 7. She was a cyclone survivor. And my mother was the first girl from that village to finish high school. And here's a painting I did of her. I actually refer to the sari, the fabric pre-colonial garment in the border of this painting. And then this is where the island is in the map of Bangladesh. The arrow shows where it is. And I was interested in using art, using the sari as a pre-colonial garment to make decolonized narratives about gender and climate change. And then I thought it would be interesting to work really with the women from my ancestral village. And they work on textiles, so I wanted to use the sari. We created these woodblock patterns together about vegetables and crops and women's empowerment, and started doing these collaborative saris together. I went down to the village on a ferry boat launch and then a fishing boat. And I noticed that there's solar panel on the fishing boat. I was inspired by them to actually put up solar panels in my own house. So I started my film journey really was with this video installation I did with video I captured in Bangladesh using very low impact photography. As Bibesh mentioned, it was just me and it was just a crew of one actually. Nandita Ahmed came with me from Brooklyn. She's a Bangladeshi American. And we made a 3-channel video installation for a gallery called Layer by Layer, highlighting these women's stories of climate and resilience. And that's how I sort of started on the film path. And then I've used these saris in different ways. The women wore them. Some of the worn saris were then stitched together by my daughter into this massive 216-foot sari containing their bodies. And I've been doing these performances with this massive long sari. This was actually in Miami, connecting women from island to island on the issue of climate change, physical and emotional connections. And then I actually went back to the island. I go every year. I realized that they know a lot about climate change, but they don't know why. They didn't know why it was happening. So I worked with the International Center for Climate Change and Development. And we did we co-facilitated a workshop there, a whole day workshop with women and children. 200 people on the island came and shared their knowledge about what they're learning about climate change. 2 of the traditional seasons in Bangladesh, we have 6 seasons, are now gone. They're feeling the impacts of climate change in various ways. They thought it was Allah that was doing it to them. And now they know that it's not God, it's actually because we burn fossil fuels. So out of that workshop in 2015, we helped develop we heard from the villagers and developed some strategies. One of the strategies of adaptation was actually planting more coconut trees. You see in the back of that photograph is the new coconut nursery that I helped them fund, and they've now planted over 200 coconut trees on the island. Coconuts obviously are trees, they're carbon sinks, but they also help with adaptability because they retain the soil. They also, when there's a flooding and storms, they also prevent storm surge by, when you have a whole layer of them on the coastline, they can help push the water level down from a storm surge. And of course, they provide clean water and food. Then I've also been helping the women there with advocacy. I'm a former lawyer. These women have learned to read and write. They had never written to the government. Now they do regular letter writing. I'm also recording their songs, their dances, because there's so much intangible heritage, what's called non-economic loss under the international framework. There's so much heritage that's actually disappearing on the island, and there's no one there. These stories are feminist songs, women's history. We call them women's Meli Geet. I'm trying to record them and save them. No one ever writes these songs down. I'm trying to write them down. It's part of my film project. I started making saris, designing these saris with Americans to have Americans try to do something about climate change, think about being in community with people in Bangladesh and around the world. And so that's been very exciting. The worn sari that I showed in Miami also went back to Bangladesh. Everything I do, I share in Bangladesh, first with the women there. This was an exhibition at the National Museum in 2015. We had the video from Bangladesh and from another performance in the US showing in the museum. It attracted thousands of people, that museum, ordinary people. The saris have been used in performances and video installations around the world, in France, in Greece. There was a house with a video inside. People could lie down in it and experience this immersive thing. Saris were at the Global Climate Summit in San Francisco. And then right before the pandemic, there was a big climate floating lab that I created with video testimonials being taken of people coming to the Museum of Contemporary Art in Rome. And I've done, one of the things I wanted to mention, I did a big public art project in 2018 with 200 Washingtonians, mostly Black people that are very much affected by climate change and climate and food and racial injustice. And we co-created 65 saris with women in Katakali village, and we wrapped 5 historic buildings with them in the street. And then there was a film that was made about that project, which is a 48-minute film called Rapture, a very low budget film. I've shot a lot of it myself with my friend Paris Preston, and that film's actually been shown in Bangladesh at the Dhaka Art Summit, and it was shown in Canada recently. And I'm working on a new film about power plants in Bangladesh and the impact on health and crops. There's multiple performance art films, and we try to do these very, without generators, very low impact. And also films that record and preserve intangible heritage of women's oral tradition songs. And we're focusing mainly on galleries and museums, but would love to get into film festivals and film spaces as well. I'm going to show this, let me see if I can do it myself. I'm going to show you a little clip from a film I'm working on. This is Zakia in Bangladesh. And then that's the end of my presentation.
ওইটা হানে বৃষ্টিটা ক্ষতি হয়ে যাইবে ওর তো পারে আবার এমন আছে ওড়ার পর নুন ডাক দিয়ে যাইবে খেতে নুন ডাক দিয়ে ওই চারাটা মরিয়ে যাইবে না এই সময় তো বৃষ্টি হয় না এখন দেখি তো ইয়ে গেছে এবছরের মাসে মাসে বৃষ্টি হয়েছে এবছরে এই লেগে মাসে তরমুজও ই করতে পারবে না যারা তরমুজ দিয়েছে হাগও ক্ষতি হয়ে যাবে বেশি এই ধান এই কালি পড়ছে ওই কালি পড়ছে সব গাছে কালি ফুরিয়ে গেছে এই কালি দেখছো ওই এই ওই টায়ারের লাগিয়া বিদ্যুৎ না দারুণ যায় না আগে নারকেল পাতা শাসন যায় না কালির লেগিয়া হ্যাঁ এটা বর পরই ওই দেখেন ওই আমার সবরি কলা গাছে ওই দেখেন কীভাবে কালি পড়ছে ওই দেখেন এই দেন এই দেখেন এরম আগে হয় নাই এরমই যায় নারকেল সব নারকেল এরমই যায় এরম আগে ছিল নারকেল আমরা তো আরো কয়েক বছর আগে আইছে
There we go. That's my contact information. And we can now stop the share. You can follow me and get in touch. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you both. We do have a few minutes left. So I was hoping we could just maybe have a little bit of a dialogue here. But first of all, I just want to thank you for your leadership and your change making in this space. How incredible the work that both of you are doing, and just shining examples of both climate storytelling, but also low impact filmmaking. And so props and huge admiration from me and the community, no doubt. So thank you for that and your presentations. We do have something that's come in here in the Q&A. First of all, just such incredible and impactful work. And where can we see Rapture?
You can email me. I can, I figure out where you can see it. It's not available online. We're still trying to do screenings and things, but
Okay.
I can, if you can arrange a small screening, I'm happy to send you a link and you can show it there.
Perfect. Okay, great. Good to know. Let's try to get that organized then.
Yeah.
Maybe I could throw it to both of you a little bit on this question, which is what, in the context of Bangladesh, what would you describe the current state of climate change awareness and action? And what are the most pressing challenges that are facing the communities and the nation in this regard?
I guess I can take that first. I think, I don't live in Bangladesh. I go every year. Most of my experiences with this remote community in Potuakhali. But I will say that people are very much aware of the impacts of climate change, especially in the coastal areas. And the government has developed very good early warning systems to prevent loss of life when there are storms and things like that. But there is not as much awareness about, how to adapt, how to, there's lots of great things happening, but obviously more needs to be done. And then I don't think there's, in the big city in Dhaka, people are just running about their lives. I feel like other than people that are very involved in the environmental movement, general people are not thinking as much as they should be about climate change. And certainly we would love for everyone to be thinking about moving to, more green energy. I'm very concerned about the new power plants that are coming into Bangladesh. There's coal power plants. There's also natural gas power plants, all of which is fossil fuel, all of which, we should be moving to renewables. And there is the technology to do that. I do feel like this is something that we need to raise a lot more awareness of.
Thank you. Bibesh, did you have anything you wanted to add about on that front?
Same thing as Monica mentioned, what's going on. But my personal opinion is we need to more focus on awareness. Awareness means how we can prevent and how we can stop. Because I mentioned in my presentation, when we did the production, 3 short film and previously 6 short film, our conventional crew and technical people, they have no concern about the sustainable production. They don't care about, they look, okay, we need big light, heavy light, lot of lights for shooting. We face a lot of problem to convince them. You don't need to light too much light, because you need to create your script according to your thoughts. You can use minimum light or low light. Like our 3 short film, we shoot in daylight. We start in 6 a.m. and we finish in 6 p.m. That's it. So, but we can tell a story. So if everybody try to do something for his or her planet, to save planet, then he and she can do. And I think we need to focus more in young generation, especially in university level, because they are now in university and day after they will come in mainstream. Whatever, in cinema industry, television industry, newspaper industry, whatever. So if we can award them in their beginning of their life, I mean in study life, they will receive properly. When they will join the professional life, they have no time to bother this type of issues, when even if they don't suffer by this problem. And last thing I want to say regarding the gender and climate, if you want, I think Monica will agree with me, if you want, you can create 1,000 content every year from Bangladesh regarding the climate and women gender issues. They are really sufferers, and there is a lot of stories, and we need to create this story to convince our stakeholder or policymaker. Okay, take your policy this way to save our girls and women. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Agreed. And I hazard a guess that Monica would agree too.
Yeah.
On that last point, but all of it, of course, and certainly the younger generation, making sure that as people enter into our industry, they already have a baseline for sustainable production and low impact production, and being creative in how they're approaching their projects. That's what people are saying here, is how to be creative. You have to be creative with everything you do in film and television and digital. So we're nearing our time here, but really excited to kick our day off with this spotlight on Bangladesh. Maybe I can just pass it over to each of you for maybe a final thought of how can people support you in your work, where can they find you, and what that call to action might be. So maybe I'll throw it over to Bibesh first, and then we'll end it off with Monica. And so I just want to give you my sincere thanks for your time here today. So Bibesh, go for it.
Okay, I mentioned in my presentation, we need some collaboration and cooperation from global community regarding the professionalism. I mean, professional training program, mentorship, like funding support, and especially technical support in the context of sustainable film production. Because in our country, if any student or indie filmmaker wants to make one film, he or she need to rent their equipment from professional vendor. They don't give you any commission. But in the developed country, they have a lot of options. They got a lot of commission and support from vendors. Like I realize when I make my productions, then 60% of total budget I spend for rent equipment. So what I can do? So this is a big challenge for us to. So if we get this type of collaboration and cooperation from global community, then that will help us, our young talents. Thank you for inviting me and for this type of initiative like Spotlight Bangladesh. Thank you.
Our absolute pleasure on that. Monica?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and I'm so excited to work to meet Bibesh. Hopefully we can work together. Yeah, I'm very I think I'm very excited to have more women filmmakers. When I started off with the Storytelling with Saris project, that was a big challenge for me. I wanted to find a woman filmmaker to work with me, Bangladeshi if possible. And it's been a real challenge, but there's 2 women that I work with. So thank you to Nandita Ahmed and Shefali Akhtar Shetu. But yeah, I want to see more women. And actually, I've been training the women in Katakali. I've given them small cameras, and some of the footage you saw, like the power plant, is actually shot by the women. So, I'm trying to do trainings and teach the people in the village to document. I can't be there when there's a storm and things happen, and they capture it. So I think that it's very important, very empowering. People in rural Bangladesh love film. Everyone in the world loves film. It's a very powerful tool, and it's good for them to learn also to document. It's not going to be the best 4K footage maybe, and it'll be a little unsteady, but it's very important, I believe, to have the voices of the people in the front lines, the people that maybe don't speak English, aren't trained, but their voices are not part of our world, and they need to be. These are submerged, important voices. That's one thing I want to say. You can find out about this ongoing collaborative project, Storytelling with Saris, at storytellingwithsaris, SARIS.com. And if you want to support, there's a little donate link there. And we need all kinds of support to keep this project going. It was going to be a 10-year project. Now we're in year 11, and it's going to keep going because we haven't solved the climate problem. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much to both of you for your time today. And so you heard it here. There are some very specific call to actions for how you can support, how you can get involved with both of these fantastic projects. So, we do need to be working together and collaborating and supporting each other's efforts. And that's how we will we'll go further faster together, as we all know. So thank you so much for your time and for sharing your stories with us today. I will bid you adieu, and I will let our audience know next up at 10 a.m. At 10 a.m. Pacific time, you can join us for greening your post, because yes, that's right. You can also decarbonize your post-production process. So thank you very much, and we'll see you all again shortly.